Hi there. I shoot raw, but I don't like it very much. I know Jared Poland is going to be a little upset with me. But let's be honest here for a moment. I started with photography shooting film. The workflow shooting film was pretty straightforward. If you shot slide film, which was preferred in many cases, then you shot the film, you sent it away for processing, you got your slides back, you looked at them, you decided which ones you liked and which ones you didn't, and that was pretty much it. What we now do in terms of post-processing, the amount of time and effort and work that we put into our images after they have been shot ranks, well, right up there with working in an actual chemical darkroom. Now, honestly, most of us have probably, if we have been in film long enough, have probably had at least some experience with a black and white darkroom. Color darkroom, probably not as much, because for one thing it was very demanding, it was very precise in terms of temperatures and times, and it was very expensive. There was a lot of wastage. We look now at modern post-processing, we say, wow, look how easy it is now. Yeah, but most of the time we just sent our film to a professional lab and we got back slides or prints from that lab and made decisions based on that. We didn't, most of us at least, did not spend hours and hours. And I'm not just talking about amateurs, I'm talking about professionals. Most of the professional photographers that I knew from the film era did not do their own processing. They did a little retouching on prints after the fact. They relied upon a professional lab to make sure that the prints that they received were the best quality possible. And they just made sure that they shot very carefully, trying to make sure that their exposure was spot on and their focus was good. Now, bring us to the present day. Most cameras, there are exceptions, but most cameras can now produce a quite workable JPEG image. JPEG images obviously have very little leeway. If you mess it up, you've lost it, it's gone. But if you're careful and you shoot JPEG, then except in certain situations, you will probably find that you get quite usable image. I don't like spending too long post-processing. I like doing some minor adjustments and so on, but I don't like this really intense workflow where we are working for ages on each image just to get it perfect. Occasionally I do work for cash. When that happens, yes, I take the time, I take the effort, because now I have to make sure that I give my client the best possible image that I am capable of. But for most of my photography, that's not the case. And typically when I pick up this camera, for instance, or any of my cameras, the first thing I do is set it for RAW plus JPEG. If I'm merely shooting snapshots, I might have this camera in JPEG mode because it has a RAW button. As soon as I see a scene that I think might be worthy of a print, I'll hit that button and it'll put me in RAW plus JPEG mode. But most of the time, that's the mode it's in anyway. So I've got both. Most of the time, it's only the JPEGs that I ever use. When, as I said, it's something important and I need to make sure that it's perfect, then I go to the RAW files. Anyhow, folks, I am not in any way asking people to shoot in JPEG. I am not in any way condemning people for shooting in RAW. But what you probably should think of is, if you know what use you're going to put the picture to, or even if you don't. Most cameras with large memory cards in them these days, you put them on RAW plus JPEG. If you find the JPEG images are good enough, then use them. If you need the RAW files, you have them. RAW plus JPEG works for me. And I've been using that now on most of my cameras. When I was shooting with a 6 megapixel Pentax digital SLR, I shot exclusively in RAW because that was early days of digital SLRs and the JPEG quality was not that great. Nowadays, especially with my Olympus equipment, the JPEGs are quite impressive. And the result is that I rarely, if ever, delve into the RAW files unless I really need that extra tiny little bit of adjustment that JPEGs won't give me. Anyhow, folks, if you like this video, then give it a like. If you like my videos, then subscribe. And if you think someone else might get some use out of this video or any of my other videos, please share. Meanwhile, get out there and take some pictures. Bye for now.